So this, guys, is the machine number 3 in the Power Tour 2023, the Harley Davidson Livewire. This bike today is known as Livewire 1. So this is actually before Harley spun off this electric division and made it into a company called Livewire. This is as close to as it can get to being a gadget, and that's the reason why this laptop makes even more sense to be paired up with this. And talking about laptops, I just want to thank Asa for empowering me in this Power Tour 2023. And the machine number 3 is something that I wanted to ride since a very long time. And ever since this was launched, publicly shown by Harley as a prototype. And then finally, the deliveries started to happen in 2019. And then, of course, COVID hit. So I assume the development of this has slowed down a little bit. But right now, I'm standing here after riding it for a little while in Australia and Sydney. And first of all, it put a big wide grin inside the helmet on my face all the time I was riding it. Be it in front of a red light, when I twisted the throttle. So the motor makes 105 horsepower, which is 78 kilowatts, and 170 Newton meters of torque.
Put this on sports mode, let's see. This was nice. I mean, you cannot achieve that kind of torque right off the bat. And in such a way. So yeah, that is the characteristic of mostly all electric vehicles. I mean, it depends on the battery, of course, which is the engine, how fast you can propel, but you'll have the available torque and the power from the word go. Like, there is no delay. The only delay is probably caused on getting that power down to the rear wheel and nothing else.
The cooling system is also quite well thought of. With the fins, it's liquid cooled as well. And the power transmission is actually a 90-degree gearbox with belt-driven rear wheel. It supports level 3 DC fast charging, and it comes with a level 1 charger that can be stored under the seat, and you can use any normal socket at home. 17-inch front and rear wheels, single disc rear and double disc up front, 2-piston front brake Brembos. This is 210 kgs dry and 250 kgs with the battery. And if I'm not wrong, that of course makes the battery 40 kilograms. It has LED headlights, TFT dashboard, trellis frame, and a single speed powertrain, which means no clutch. And 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. And top speed is claimed to be 180 kilometers an hour. The range, talking about that, I think this will give you lesser range on the freeways, because then there is no regen, you're not braking, you're not stopping, and it will give you more range when in the city. And twisties, of course, you're going to use more power. At the same time, probably you're going to slow down in the corners. So that's what I think maximum range you can get out of this is around 190, 200 kilometers, and the ideal expected range should be around 150 kilometers. The electronics work stupendously well, and this sort of road is so amazing to ride on this motorcycle. I just could not believe how well this corners, despite you might think that, it looks like a cruiser. It's supposed to look like a cruiser, especially when it's coming from Harley Davidson. It could have been a sports bike, it could have been a scrambler, it could have been anything. Now, talking about that, a very interesting thing about this is that this was actually known as the Mission R superbike. So Mission was actually a company which developed electric motorcycles back in 2009, 2010 in America. And then, of course, they were not big enough, so they hit a lot of hurdles. But eventually, they changed their main portfolio to making powertrains and those kind of things for electric motorcycles and vehicles. And then they started making this for Harley. And of course, it has been a wonderful partnership. And because the first product that has come out is the Livewire. Well, let me tell you one thing, that Harley Davidson is very serious with this motorcycle. I mean, one of the things that shows this is that in 2020, there was this streaming series on Apple TV, if I'm not wrong, which starred Evan McGregor and Charlie Booman. Yes, those same guys who actually made The Long Way Around and those kind of documentaries. And this time, they took 2 live wires from South America to all the way to California. I mean, that is saying something. And of course, they had backup, but it was a huge production. So that I am assuming that Harley is actually pretty serious about the live wire. I feel that this could become a perfect motorcycle, be it urban, be it corners like this. It actually takes corners quite well, and I was quite amazed. And as with most electric bikes, this is very narrow, and that makes it even more better to weave through traffic in the city. Now, who this is targeted at? Definitely not someone who has been riding Harleys throughout their lives. I mean, they're used to the sound, they're used to the brotherhood, the thump, and all that involvement. Of course, this doesn't even have a clutch, so this might be a good second motorcycle for someone who's affluent, let me put it that way. I mean, who's got a Harley, who wants to impress his grandkids, or even put this in the drawing room and just take it sometimes, just to be different, just to feel different, and just to make it a talking point when someone visits their mansion or big home. Why I'm saying all this is because this is actually almost 30,000 US dollars, which is a lot of money, and it's not a cheap motorcycle. Now, this is actually a very pretty motorcycle to look at. I thought that having a battery would be very difficult for them to pull off a nice looking motorcycle, but if you see these fins, they're actually also enhancing the look of the bike, and they also of course aid in cooling the battery. And these ram air intakes over here on both sides, they actually throw the air right on the fins and enable cooling. I mean, it's much more complex than that. So I think that this is a great motorcycle. I wouldn't mind riding this every day. And somehow I felt that the electronics package is also quite good. I mean, the traction control works very well, the ABS. And I want to talk about the regens once more, because the regen can also be set in different levels. So it's basically what enables you when you brake using the deceleration to charge the battery on the go. And it feels like a slipper clutch. It can also feel like there is no slipper clutch if you increase the regen level. But this motorcycle also has haptic feedback, which means that this will move a little bit when you are standing still on a red light, just to remind you that this is still live. If you twist the throttle, this might just go underneath you. So that is what it makes closer to being a gadget even so more. And this one, for example, also has a SIM card inside it, if I'm not wrong, and it can also connect with your phone. So the Livewire Del Mar is the second motorcycle which is going to come out, and I think it's going to start delivering in around 6 months, and that bike is almost half the price of this, and it's sort of scramble-ish, and I mean, it looks good. It's a little bit different than this. So I think what Harley has done is right. They have dissociated Livewire from its parent name, and that means that Livewire has a lot bigger playground to play with. I mean, they can make vehicles otherwise which would have been a little odd. I mean, this is odd enough for Harley, and they are still giving direction to Livewire, and of course they have a big investment in that. Plus, there's one more thing which you might not know, that Kymco also has investment in the Livewire company. Yes, the scooter company from South Korea. So it's truly an age of globalization, convergence, and not only in terms of gadgets, but in terms of power and different companies coming together and enabling the next era of vehicles. Now, talking about that, the most important thing which I feel in electric vehicles is the battery. I mean, if you improve the battery, the electric vehicles, the gadgets, everything, the whole quality of life, locomotion, they are going to improve drastically. And so I think the next step forward is how to get maximum out of existing battery technology or invent a new battery technology. But of course, I'm sure that the biggest engineers in the world, they are actually working on that, and that is the next gold mine after the fossil fuels revolution, I would say. So here is the live wire for you from Harley Davidson, the machine number 3 in Power Trip 2023.